Moguls. This is Dr. T. It's great to connect with you all today. I'm really excited to be with you and really kick off the 2025 Total Life Transformation here. And I'm also excited to be going live with you today here on New Year's. I've got my handy dandy dog TJ right here with me, so he might be chiming in unexpectedly, whether I would like him to do that or not. I decided to do this transformational challenge, both for my own self, for my team, for my clients, and ended up deciding to do it for all of you and bring this to doing lives multiple times per week, bringing us through really an entire year of transformation starting with today, January 1st. I am really excited to be doing this challenge because transformation is really the priority for people at this time. We are in a new era. We've really crossed over from an old paradigm, an old set of programming, a previous way of being that is steadily transitioning into an entirely new era that we are all existing in, and some people are further along in it than others. We have entered the most rapid transformational era that humans will have ever been in up until this point. And in this rapidly transforming new chapter that we've come in, we're going into a whole new world where people will need to be able to transform in ways that are faster and just more rapid and more intensive than ever before. And I can understand that people have a lot of concern about that. People also have just a lot of things they want to upgrade about themselves and change, both in their health, their relationships, their way of living, their wealth. And it can just be so overwhelming that people can just feel like, why bother? And they can go into a new year, as we all know, make some New Year's resolutions, and then very steadily after that, let go of them when they hit some resistance, and ultimately not even remember what they were at a very early point into the year. And that is not because anyone or any of you doesn't really want change. It's not because people don't really desire it. In fact, I believe people really desire to be their top selves, their top level being. But this has to do with the reality that transformation in some ways is both easy and hard. And that's also why we are in a new era where there's more transformative leaders than ever before. But it's also because transforming is not just a challenge for people that they find difficult, no matter how much will they have to change it, how much desire, how much pain they have staying in a previous version of themselves in a previous life. But the reality is, you're not just making changes, you're trying to make them in the midst of the previous reality that has so much momentum. And that previous reality is programmed into you. And when you look around each and every day and you see the same stuff, the same place, the same kitchen, you wear the same pajamas, you walk on the same street, you drive into the same driveway, you are hanging out with the same exact people, you're having the same conversations with the same exact people, you're living groundhog life, but then you're just doing everything you possibly can, just earnestly doing all you can to shift. The reality is your whole being is programmed into a certain reality, and it just got programmed into that day after day after day. And it's programmed into that reality on so many layers. I'm going to point out more of them so everybody can realize this. You're programmed into a reality that is deeply cellular at this point, that comes from your ancestry. Your lineage carries with it the momentum of let's just say of a variety of things. Some of them productive, or we all wouldn't be here still. We are literally the product of what is productive. But a lot of things that are unproductive and that are of a certain era. Um, and it can be anything that just keeps getting carried through the generations, and they refer to this as happening epigenetically. These are the genetics of the energy of your DNA family. So that's one layer of transformation, or that's one layer that we have to go through in order to transform and not just be subject to that. I'm going to talk about different layers here as we get going on this transformational challenge. So when we think about that, we've got, I'll just use an example in my life, which is on my mom's side. And on my mom's side, they have many generations back of people who had a lot of suicidality, a lot of depression, a lot of what they refer to as manic depression, and people who attempted suicide either once or multiple times. And that lineage comes through and lands on the next generation. And we are all hanging out in our lives with that, because as we get made, and we are made as our mom and dad make us, we're half this one, half that one. We're literally carriers of that information. And so we've got that working against us. Even though the good news is we have the good stuff, the productive stuff working for us that comes from our lineage. But as we go to transform, and we really, it's like this time we really, really believe it. It's like, but we've got these different layers, and that's one of them. So I want to help everybody just know that every bit of your life where you really, really wanted to change, and you really meant it, and this is not, sure, you're responsible for everything, but you're not the one that created it. This is generations and generations of stuff that has momentum, and now here you are trying to be the greatest version of yourself, and you might not have in your lineage anybody that ever was. Some people do. Some people have people in their lives that, in their ancestry, that lived out these remarkable, successful lives of full potential. But most people, the masses, have people that just survived and just kept handing down, passing on, as they say, when a new person is created, the energy DNA of certain things. Depression, anxiety, could be anything and everything, abandonment, neglect. Every one of us has a set of things that is so strong in our ancestry and our lineage that we are now carriers of until we transform it, that even stuff like that can just be working against us. And so it's no wonder that transformation requires a lot more strategy and ability and reprogramming than we might think. and why we can keep trying but ending up in the same place. And even in some cases, feeling like year after year we're actually going backward, depending on who you are. So, before I go on to acknowledge the things that we are here to overcome about the things that we're here to overcome as we go to transform, I'm going to just acknowledge that that is also why we're doing the 2025 Total Life Transformation. Because all the years of me transforming myself, transforming my life, transforming clients, running a transformation company for many, many years, having a transformation team, I've been able to see, do, experience the most profound transformational experiences with people, progress, success. I've been able to do that myself, but I've also, and I'll just even speak from my own experience, also experienced where I could literally be doing freaking running circles around people, doing cartwheels at such a level of progress, to also be able to come to notice that because there are literally centuries of that ancestral lineage of things that have happened in the people that preceded us, and we are now the new generation. This is the great new opportunity, but we are also, unfortunately, the carriers of the worst of it, which is why my whole life I have known that the only sane thing that I can see for all humans to do, which is why it's fascinating to me how few people do it, is we need to be actively transforming. Otherwise, we're just literally the carriers of the previous generation's reality, and then we just live that out. And even when we can just do everything, I'm sure some of you may relate to this, you can literally do everything you can possibly think of to transform, to change, to be different, to up level, to live your potential. And you might find at different times you're like, holy shit, I am literally still living the life of my father, my mother, my grandfather, my grandmother. And that can be really disheartening, be really exhausting. People can feel like just giving up. Uh, it can also be confusing. What should I be doing? What should I be focused on? Who should help me? What approach should I use? What strategy? How often? And so, one of the most important things I can share with you before I share the layers of things that we're going to need to grow through to transform over the course of this year, the reality is that the number one foundational thing that we need in transformation is, well, it's a few things. We need a set of intentions that is the bigger purpose. People call them goals. I refer to them as intentions, our purpose, our vision for this new reality, for the new reality that is us, the new reality is that is the reality we're creating. And we need the strategy. And intentionality is the greatest strategy that I know, by the way. And we need consistency. I've never understood why people are thinking that they can, in a 7-day week, they can do 1 hour a week with a therapist, and that's going to just take care of it all, when the entire rest of the week, all of those hours in a day, you are living the other reality. And that's why people can take 20, 30, 40, 50 years and the other reality is still present, because we're barely scratching the surface with an hour a week. The numbers don't add up. We need to be immersing in transformation. And what I really believe is that for some people, whoever can do it, and even if you can't, I think in some ways people could just try to find a way. Being able to literally do a full immersive year of transformation that is so immersively immersive, it is key. Because otherwise, you're living the other life that you're trying to change, trying to do the new life, but while living the other life, you're still reprogramming it. It's like almost impossible. And yet, over the years, one of the things that I've seen make a huge difference, which is why I finally decided to bring it here to YouTube and philanthropically offer this up, is we've got to go consistent, day in, day out. Transform, 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 because we're working against the whole reality that keeps reprogramming itself, right? So everything, if it's the same couch, it's the same clothing, it's the same people, and then we've got this calendar full of the same stuff year after year. It's this day, it's that day, it's President's Day, it's this day, it's Mother's Day, it's like we are literally just completely programming ourselves into the same reality, all like as a population. I think one of the greatest things we could do is just blow up the frickin' calendar, take all the holidays off of it, skip them all, and say to everybody, let's total up all the days that people would get off of the holidays and say I'm just going to guess, it's 15 days. It's 12, 12 days, let's say. It's 12 days. 12 days a year, you're going to pick your own celebratory day, and you're going to do that. Invite your friends, do whatever you want, invite your family. But we are reliving Groundhog Day and Groundhog Life because we are reliving Groundhog Year. Greatest thing for humanity would be to wipe those holidays clean and start with something fresh that represents where we are now. I know we just went through the holidays. I know a lot of you love them, but all I can say is I just literally feel like I'm just getting reprogrammed into more and more of the same reality, which is why progress is so freaking slow and why I'm so glad that we're finally in a new era of rapid transformation. New paradigms, new creations, new innovations. So just understand how fascinatingly challenging it is to transform it all. And yet I invite you all to make the commitment to it because it's the only strategy that has any sanity to it in the world. Otherwise, if we don't go actively toward transformation as a literal lifestyle, and in my belief, we should have transformational activities happening literally every day. Because if we don't transform actively as a lifestyle at the top of the priority hierarchy, reality will program you into whatever it has already been and whatever the other people are programming because they're focused on it. And then you end up in their reality. You end up in their world because they're more willing to program it. And you're then the passenger of a group of other people's reality. And between you and I, when I look at the world, I'm seeing some great things that people are creating that I'm super grateful for because they're making a beautiful world that we're living in. And at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, but the net is that the people that are programming reality aren't doing a great job. It sucks ass. And I can say to all of you also that because most of the population is not in active transformation, we just end up in a chaotic reality full of crisis and negativity and depression and anxiety because transformation needs to be an active strategy daily. You either grow or you get absorbed into whatever the bad realities are that are getting created, and you either grow or you die. So as one that does a massive amount every day to transform, like my life is literally built around transformation. I can say that even with that, everyone, even with that, I still feel like, there's just a lot of just being like, you're just swept up in the craziness of the world because it's so profound. And then what's unfortunate is the worse the world gets, the more certain people, a smaller percentage of the population go, we got to change this, and they rise up and they get stronger in leadership. But the mass population goes, I'm even more scared. I am more numb. I'm just gonna numb out. I'm gonna watch Netflix. I'm gonna drink, eat crap. I'm gonna get worse. They get more addicted, fatter, more sick. Everybody's getting sicker because avoiding it does not work. And that's what's gotten us here. What's gotten us here is that the mass population avoids transformation and a small population does it. And those numbers must flip flop. And so transformation is the only sane thing to be doing in our lives. And I believe that when it gets built into people's lives as a daily process of active transformation, not like I live all this life, I do, but then I somehow here or there occasionally fit in my therapy session or coaching session. It's not enough. Transformation must get at the top of the priority list, and everything that comes after that will be made better for it. It's just the way it is. So I'm here after, excuse me, after years of running a coaching company, writing transformational books, doing TED Talks, speaking, leading, working with high net worth people, ultra high net worth people, high profile people, and having some programs that have helped people that are much more accessible. Having people pay me millions and millions of dollars, and some people just for an individual coaching sessions pay, or individual coaching programs pay my company $100,000 a year to 250 to 300,000. Contracts signed for $1 million for a family for family programs, company programs. I also just recognize that the mass population is getting worse and worse. And this is my world, and we are a family, all of us together. We are a human family. And so I am coming forth to do this process of this 365, this 2025, really a 365-day total transformation challenge. I'm going to be moving through it myself because I have things to upgrade that I want to upgrade. That this is going to help me do it because I'm going to be actively doing it with you. And it's an invitation for people to do it throughout the course of this year, because when you do something like this and you take a full calendar year and you transform day by day actively as a priority, you reprogram what happens in a calendar year. And now your calendar year, instead of being the same old beep, now becomes a new momentum of transformation, which starts to take you into the next calendar year. Transform. Transform. So while all of you will be transforming yourselves and your lives and your world, your realities in the world for your whole lifetime, and your children's children's children will do the same. The good news is that when a individual or a partnership, in case you're going to bring your partner in here, or a family, in case you're going to bring your family in here, or a company, in case you're going to bring your company in here, you might have a business and put your people in here with us. When you spend a year in immersive transformation of yourself, your partnership, your family, your company, and your entire reality, you have the potential to live out your full purpose, to create your higher reality, and to live your ultimate destiny. And that is what everyone wants. That's what I want. That's what I want for you. That's what I believe you want for yourself. That's what we all want for each other. And here's the thing, everyone. We need this as a collective. We need a transformation of our mass population. We need people to step forth and upgrade. Because if we don't, we're heading down a certain track. And when we get down, when in the laws of physics, it's just the way it is. When you get too far down a certain track, it'll take you into a reality that we sort of just are a little arrogant, thinking that we can just let it slide and then at some point we can fix it all. But you can get so far down into a reality that it has its grips on you and you might never return from it. And even as a transformational leader, I can tell you that out of all of our clients that have ever transformed over the years, all but a couple had over the top success beyond their wildest imagination. But a couple never fully made it out of where they were, the areas that they'd gone into. They got progress. One never made it out. They didn't, we had to discontinue them from their program. And a second one just didn't get all of the results that they should have gotten. And meaning they were so far down into a level of struggle and off track that the truth is I shouldn't have even taken them on as a client, but I'm a humanitarian. And it took myself and my team, it injured us. We experienced massive vicarious trauma having this person as a client because they went so far in the wrong direction. And all their loved ones, their family members, they did not do a thing. And it took a Herculean effort, and it injured us in the process, which was not good for us. And what I learned from that, and I've learned from that also just in my life, in my family, in the world, we see it. There are some people that will go so far in a certain direction, and when we have any opportunity to turn it around, rather than let something go too far, we've got to make that shift. And I've never understood growing up in a world where people are just hanging out and letting all this bad stuff happen, whether it's to them on an individual, collective, their relationship, their family, their company, the world. I just don't get it. So we really need a population of people that transforms so powerfully into their top selves, and what I refer to as their mogul selves, their most powerful, positively influential, wealthy, healthy, successful, contributing self. Mogul, M-O-G-U-L. It doesn't just mean some business mogul, it means powerful person. We need a population of people that do this, almost like we need to draft people to transform. The way that they've done when we've gone to war. We've got to save the country, got to save that country. We draft you, you help us out of that territory, and we move on. Well, I believe that we need to draft people for transformation so that people get so well, so healthy, so effective, so functional, so capable, so incredible, and purely, purposefully, intentionally for the good of humanity level powerful, that their very presence changes the physics of reality, This population of people changes the physics of reality and brings us up the frequency and helps us change the world and put it on the right trajectory. We must transform. And the transformation of our world will happen through the transformation of each person. We don't have to go fly all over the world to do 5,000 things. We need to operate at our top capacity, top frequency. We need to do this urgently. We need to do this holistically, comprehensively, and completely. So, this year, and I'll likely do this ongoing, but this year is the year. And I'm as committed as anyone. I'm here to be my top self, my top mogul self. I'm here to overcome things that even if I've overcome them before, I'm here to make it even better. If I eat pretty well, but I'm here to shift my relationship with sugar. I exercise every day, but I'm here to be in top physical fitness. Um, every aspect of myself that I can upgrade, I'm here to do it. I'm here to be a part of it. I'm here to live it out. I'm here to hold myself accountable by doing this process with all of you and doing it together. So many of us, and you may feel this, we have so many things to shift in ourselves, it just feels like overwhelming. Like, where do I start? And yet, if we commit to a total transformation and we do it strategically with a strategic leader that will take us through it, and become a strategic community of those that commit to transform into our highest level of intentionality, living out our highest capacity, creating our highest reality, and living our ultimate destiny, and we do that, then we change the world. If we do that in ourselves and make that the priority, and I know everybody has so much going on, but blah, 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 that's always going to be the case. We all know it. I have it too. The, the, the fact that our whole world never, ever gives anyone a chance to literally transform themselves so they can become the best version of themselves and then carry on is so ridiculous that we have to take charge. We have to take the reins here. We have to find a way to do that. It's not just the people who struggle with addiction and then go to rehab who need rehab. It's not just about alcohol. It's about anything and everything where we are not in our power, where reality is running us, and where we need to gain mastery over that and get in charge and be at our highest level selves, because our frequency at the highest changes the constitution of the world, and it will level us up. It'll get us to all do what we're here to do. And if there is any human, quite honestly, that is not living at their highest potential, they're not making their fullest contribution to the world, and therefore they are simply contributing to the very frustrating world that they are living in. Because the only sane thing to do in what feels like having spent my life on planet Earth, which is amazing on many levels, but also feels like an insane asylum. That, like, I'm like, did I get, you know, did I get put in the sane asylum? I mean, for all we know, that's what's going on here. But the only thing to do is to get well, to get epically healthy, powerfully wealthy, super successful, and not as other people have defined it, but as our purpose tells us that it should be. To be leaders of ourselves, of beautiful lives, realities, partnerships, families, and what I like to refer to more as dynasties, multi-generational dynasties of successful people, generation after generation, creating something better and better instead of multi-generational hell. Building these beautiful epic empires, however you want to design them. They don't need to look like Elon Musk's. They don't need to look like anybody else's, but they need to be created. They need The world needs your contribution. The world needs your innovation. The world needs the ideas that are trying to come through you and be brought into the world. And, Steve Jobs, as an example, is just one of the people who was given all of that information to create Apple and what we're living on today, what I'm talking to you on this computer right now. Other people got those downloads. We're all getting reality coming through us, telling us, create this thing, build this thing. And then we have the old programming that says it can't work, we have to do this, we have to do that. We have the old programming in the way. And the challenge of being a human can be that the old programming stays with you. So you're like, shoot, if something bad happened, then it keeps happening, which is why we've got to make reprogramming ourselves our top priority. And we've got to be focused on programming our intentionality and our intentions for the future and get ourselves reoriented, because most people are reliving the past, because once it gets programmed into you, it will repeat itself. It's just physics. We've got to make shifts, and even as weird as this may sound, our conversations are going to be better when they are about our intentions. It's just a matter of reality, of physical reality. Thank you, buddy. Thank you. We've got to make shifts. We've got to make incredible methods of transformation. We've got to instill them into us. We've got to install new software into this human design that we are, this operating system. We've got to make a commitment to our higher selves and our higher reality, because if you are here, the only reason you were brought here was to literally evolve humanity. And while I can appreciate and really do enjoy the culture of this fun and that fun and all of that, I keep having this thought come through all the time that I had when I was younger. I was like, my dad would take us out on the lake and we'd be water skiing and I'd have so much fun. But I was a kid who knew that a lot of people were suffering. I knew that my family members had lots of suffering going on and we weren't getting the help. We were like, suffer, suffer, suffer. Go do something fun to avoid it. Come back from that. And then the suffering is still there because nobody was like, let's make the priority to actually heal, to overcome, to transform, to transcend. And so I can appreciate the world where everybody's out shopping and water skiing and whatever, but I don't get it. I just never have understood. And so we are finally, thank God, entering a new era. We have left the era of Capricorn that went on for thousands of years. We are in the new era of Aquarius. We've just entered into it. It is a age of revolutionary, rapid, innovative, absolutely epic transformation that will absolutely change our world. It will be unrecognizable. Thank God for that. We are finally in the age where all this years and years of, building up the stuff and the materials and the houses and have this and have that, everything was about the stuff and the material and building the material world and the industry, and have this house, have this many houses, have this many cars, have this much stuff, have so much stuff that you have storage units, and while people are just completely suffering in that process. And we're finally at the age of transformation where it's going to make people's heads spin, but I'm so excited, everyone, because we are talking about finally where we're going to play catch up. We're going to transform our asses off, because it's the only way to keep up with the pace of evolution that the universe is bringing in, that Mother Nature, that the forces of nature are evolving us into. They're saying, hey, you've been suffering in all of this struggle. We are speeding this up to where you should already be because you all been dragging ass and ignoring what you need to do. Over here watching, 5 hours of Netflix where one of those hours you could have been transforming yourself. We're in a new age of transformation, and I invite all of you to make a commitment to transform. We are overcoming so many things when we step up to transform, and we begin to set intentions for that. And I'm going to speak to a little bit more of that. And in these early days of 2025, I'm going to help us all understand the the things that we are facing as we transform into our new version of ourselves, our new version of reality, and ultimately the new world. And what is effectively all of us who step up to transform and become our full mogul selves are here to tackle, which is why day in and day out, 365 days this year, transformation is the priority, and I will be right here doing that process, making that, just making that focus and building this community. So we are shifting, like I said, from our lineage, our ancestral patterns of struggle that we are carriers of. And so along with that, while we have lots of things that we're overcoming, and I'm going to be going through, particularly this week, while I'd also, by the way, like all of you to be sharing and hopefully commenting and staking a claim, commenting, speaking to the things you are here to change, the intentions that you have for the future. This is our focus. This is what's going to get us there. But I'm also here to let us know what it is that we are transforming through and overcoming, so that we are not naive little emotional children, but we're not pessimistic people who think it can't be done, because that's not true either. We are total optimists. That's the invitation. And we're optimists when it comes to the future we want. That's my invitation for you. But we're realist about the reality that we are overcoming, which is very different when people say, be a realist about what's possible. You don't have to be a realist about what's possible. You need to be an optimist about what's possible. But you need to be a realist about what you are actually transcending and the materials with which are present that you are changing and need the transformation, because the fact that our reality exists the way it is the number one challenge to transform it, because it's got so much momentum. So I'm inviting you all to tune in, again, to very much tune into this transformation. So along with that lineage, what's connected to it is we're transforming not just what the lineage is performance, for the most part. Making sure that this stream is still going. There's a little internet glitch. Let me just, I think it's fixing itself. But I see the timer's not going, so I'm just tuning in here. I shut some bandwidth. Let's see. Stay with me. No, if you all can see me or if it's just frozen with this funny face. There we go. Okay, we're back. Okay, here we go. So, this count. Timer is not. I'm gonna close some windows to see if we can get some more bandwidth. We'll resume. Just stay with me.